Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today we're going to dig into one of the biggest mysteries of the office, ourselves. We're going to take a look at the Workplace Big Five, which is basically a scientifically backed map to your professional personality. Okay, let's get into it.
So, have you ever looked around your office and wondered this? I mean, you've seen this, right? You've got that one person whose desk is a whirlwind of papers, they're juggling 10 things at once, and they're loving it. And then, right next to them, is someone who needs everything in its perfect place, a color-coded calendar, just to feel okay. It's not about one being better than the other, it's all about personality.
And the answer to that question really lies in something researchers call a personality trait. Now, we're not just talking about being in a bad mood one day. A trait is a stable, pretty predictable pattern. You can almost think of it like your brain's default setting for how you prefer to act and react at work. And these traits, they're the building blocks of who we are in the office.
So, okay, how do we actually map all this stuff? Well, we use what's called the five-factor model. The Workplace Big Five breaks this down into 5 core traits, and you can remember them with the acronym NEOAC. So we're going to do a quick tour through each one. Think of this as your new guide to understanding not just yourself, but your colleagues a whole lot better.
All right, first up on our tour is N, which stands for Need for Stability. This one is all about how you handle stress. You know, when the pressure's on, deadlines are screaming, what's your go-to response? This trait puts you somewhere on a spectrum.
So on one end, you have the resilient types. They stay pretty calm, cool, and collected. And on the other end, you have the reactive types who are more alert, more sensitive to what's going on. And this is super important. Neither one is good or bad. A resilient person might be steady under pressure, sure, but a reactive person, they can be the conscience of the team, the one who spots potential problems before anyone else even sees them coming.
So, here's what that might sound like inside someone's head on that higher reactive end. You can really feel the concern there, can't you? This person is just wired to be highly attuned to potential threats, which, can actually be a huge strength in jobs that require a ton of vigilance.
Okay, next up is E for extroversion. And this is probably one of the most misunderstood traits out there. It's not just about being the life of the party. It's really about what your ideal level of sensory stimulation is. People, noise, activity, the whole shebang.
It all boils down to one simple thing: energy. Where do you get your batteries recharged? Is it by being alone with your thoughts, or is it by being right in the middle of all the action? Introverts find that overstimulation is draining, while for extroverts, it's what fills up their tank.
I mean, just think about that for a second. For a true extrovert, a day packed with back-to-back meetings isn't a nightmare. It's fuel. It's an opportunity to connect, to collaborate, to move things forward. For an introvert, that very same schedule could be absolutely wiped out by 5 p.m. exhausting.
All right, on to trait number 3, O for originality. This is all about how you feel about new ideas, about change, about the unknown. Are you the kind of person who likes to stick with what's tried and true, or are you always peeking around the corner to see what's next?
And this creates such a fascinating dynamic at work. You've got the preserver, who is all about, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're focused on efficiency, on mastering what works right now. Then you have the explorer, the innovator, the one always asking, but what if we did it this way? And here's the thing, every great company needs both. You need the stability to survive and the innovation to grow.
And this is what that explorer sounds like in the wild. It's that mindset of constant curiosity, a total openness to trying new things. This is the person who's first in line to download the beta version of the new software or volunteer for that crazy pilot program.
Okay, so what happens when things get a little tense? How do you handle conflict? That brings us to our 4th trait, A for accommodation. When your goals clash with someone else's, what's your natural gut reaction?
This creates 2 very different styles. The challenger is competitive. They're driven to win the argument and protect their own interests. The adapter? They're much more interested in group harmony. So a challenger might ask, how can I win? While an adapter is more likely to ask, how can we all just move forward together?
This is such a classic adapter thing to say. See, for them, it's not about being weak or giving in. It's about prioritizing what's most important to them. And that's often keeping the peace and maintaining a collaborative vibe.
Winning the argument just isn't worth disrupting the team's harmony.
And finally, we've arrived at our last stop, C for consolidation. This is all about how you get stuff done. It's about your focus, your discipline, and your drive to see things through to the end.
The flexible folks, they're energized by jumping from task to task. A new email, a phone call, bring it on. They thrive on that spontaneity. But the people on the focused end, they need to check things off the list one by one. They really prefer to finish one thing completely before even thinking about starting the next. Now listen to how different this sounds. This is that focused mindset. You can hear the discipline, the high standards. For someone like this, a project isn't just a task to be completed. It's a direct reflection of their own personal commitment to quality.
Okay, so we've done the quick tour of the Big Five. And it's super tempting to just look at your score and say, okay, that's me. But it's not that simple. Human personality is so much more detailed, so much more interesting than that. So what happens when we peel back just one more layer? Get this, for example. You could have two people who both score as ambiverts, right in the middle of the extroversion scale, but for totally different reasons. Person X is just consistently in the middle. They like things not too loud, not too quiet. But person Y, they're a person of extremes. They might love the energy of a huge conference, but then they need to go home and have total silence for a day to recover. They average out in the middle, but their actual experience of the world is completely different.
So, why does any of this matter for your job? Well, it all comes down to this idea of a competency. A competency is really just something you have to be good at to succeed in your role, a specific skill or a way of behaving.
And right here, this is where it all clicks into place. Your unique personality profile, it gives you a set of natural competencies, things that just feel easy and effortless for you. And when those natural talents line up perfectly with what your job demands, you get this amazing feeling called trait energy. It's that in-the-zone feeling where work doesn't even feel like work. And that really leads us to the most powerful idea of all. The goal isn't to fight against your personality, to force yourself to be someone you're not. It's about having the self-awareness to find a job, a team, an environment where your natural tendencies, your default settings aren't a liability, they're your superpower.
So, I want to leave you with a question that could honestly change how you look at your career. We spend so much of our lives trying to squeeze ourselves into a box that a job has created. But what if we flip that around? What if we started by truly understanding who we are and then went out and found the work that was practically built for us? Thanks for joining this explainer.